There is an atheist that would say science is proof that God does not exist. There is also a Christian that would say God is proof that science can't be trusted. They are both completely wrong. They're forcing two different kinds of truth into the same box. It's like translating one language into another, word by word, and expecting it to all make sense. The sentence structures are different, the phrasing is different. Sometimes one word in a specific language requires 3 words when translated into another language. And this is where we get it all wrong. We expect what God declared outside of time to look exactly the same in time. The Bible shows that interpretation plays a key role in understanding the things of God. Why do you think Jesus used many metaphors to explain heavenly concepts? In this video, we will prove to you how the scientific and biblical perspectives seem like they disagree at first, but actually perfectly align. To understand this properly, you have to first understand how God operates, because when people hear God created the universe, they imagine something instant. Flash. Everything appears fully formed, but that's not actually how God consistently works. In the Bible, you see 2 patterns over and over again. Sometimes God acts miraculously, and other times he works through natural processes. Now think about this. Every human being is created by God, but none of us just appeared as full-grown adults. We started as infants and went through a long, natural process of growth. Even Jesus Christ, if anyone could have arrived fully formed and ready, came as a child. He grew, he developed, he moved through time. So here's the real question. If God consistently chooses to work through processes in human life, why do we expect the entire universe to be created in a single instant with no process at all? That expectation doesn't actually come from the Bible. It comes from our assumptions. Now let's focus specifically on the timeline of Earth's formation, because this is where the confusion usually comes from. Science describes Earth forming over billions of years as part of the development of the Big Bang and the later formation of stars, planets, and solar systems. But Genesis describes creation in days. The Bible itself suggests that God does not experience time the way humans do. In 2 Peter 3:8 NIV, it says, "With the Lord a day is like 1,000 years, and 1,000 years are like a day." These verses are not giving a mathematical conversion. They are establishing a principle. God is not limited to human time measurement. So when we talk about days in Genesis, we are not forced into assuming a strict human 24-hour framework for the entire creative process. Once that assumption is removed, the comparison becomes clearer. From a scientific perspective, Earth does not appear instantly in a finished state. It develops gradually. The early universe forms after the initial expansion of the Big Bang. Stars and galaxies form over vast periods. Heavier elements are produced inside stars and distributed. Solar systems eventually form. Earth itself becomes stable and capable of supporting life. In other words, Earth is not immediately ready. It is prepared over time. Now, if you step back and look at Genesis at a broader level, the emphasis is not on measuring duration, but on the progression from formlessness to structure, emptiness to stability, instability to a world capable of sustaining life. So what you end up with are 2 timelines describing the same broad reality, a world that is not instantly finished, but gradually formed into something that can support life. And if God is ultimately in control of both miraculous events and natural processes, then this gradual formation is not outside of creation. It is part of it. Now we get to the part most debates revolve around, the order of creation. This is where people assume the Bible directly contradicts science. But that assumption is based on a mistake, reading Genesis as if it is describing creation from a detached, cosmic, outside the universe perspective. That is not what the text is doing. Genesis is consistently written from an earth-centered perspective, describing creation as it becomes relevant to the world being formed for life. Take the statement, "Let there be light." This is not introducing light as a physical entity for the first time in existence. Light, in a physical sense, already belongs to the structure of the universe described by the Big Bang. What is being described in Genesis is the establishment of light as something that now defines the Earth's experience. Order, rhythm, and separation from darkness. Next, the sun, moon, and stars are described as being set in place for seasons, time, and signs. But those celestial bodies already exist in the broader universe long before Earth reaches its stable form. So what Genesis is describing is not their creation, but their appointed function relative to the Earth. They become meaningful, visible, and operational from the Earth's surface as conditions stabilize. Even in modern language, this is how human perception works. We say sunrise and sunset, not because the sun is literally moving around us, but because we describe reality from our position on Earth. Genesis follows the same principle. It is not written as a scientific report of universal construction. It is a structured account of creation as it becomes ordered, observable, and functional from the standpoint of the Earth. The biggest mistake in this entire debate is the assumption that the Bible was written to function like a scientific manual. It wasn't. From the beginning, Scripture uses language, imagery, and narrative in ways that go far beyond literal description. That's not a weakness. It's how it communicates truth at a deeper level. Jesus Christ taught this constantly through parables. He didn't reduce complex spiritual realities into plain technical explanations. He used stories, metaphors, and layered meaning because certain truths cannot be captured by literal wording alone. That principle runs through the entire Bible. It means interpretation is not optional, it's required. And that already changes how you approach the relationship between science and Scripture. Science describes how the physical world behaves through measurable laws and observation. But even science has limits. It cannot answer questions of ultimate meaning, purpose, or why reality exists at all. The Bible operates in that space, not by replacing science, but by addressing what science is not designed to touch. And this is where faith becomes unavoidable. The Bible is explicit about this principle. Without faith, it is impossible to please God. Hebrews 11:6. That means uncertainty is not a flaw in the system, it is part of it. There is no point in human experience where everything is so fully explained that faith becomes unnecessary. Even in science, trust is required. Trust in observation, trust in reasoning, trust in assumptions about the consistency of reality itself. So the idea that faith disappears once knowledge increases is false. Instead, faith simply shifts form. And that is the key. There is always room for doubt by design, which means there is always room for faith, not because truth is weak, but because relationship with God is not built on forced certainty, it is built on trust. And that leads to a final conclusion. Logic does not stand above God. Logic operates within the structure God created. So when science and Scripture appear to clash, the issue is not that one has defeated the other, it is that both are being forced into the same category when they were never meant to function that way. If you like deep dives into these interesting concepts, you'll love our other videos. See you in the next one.